and we are an online global directory for shamanic services created to build a community of shamanic earth-based healers and teachers from all around the world, and to also give access to healings, teachings, and resources to those who seek healing or who want to know more about the world of shamanism. And we also organize regular events like today, where we invite shamanic thought leaders, teachers, and healers to speak about a topic and inspire a global community and our audience. And to give you a little bit more information about us, and if you want to learn more, then you can visit us at shamansdirectory.com, and we also welcome you to apply and get listed on our directory or book an appointment with one of our amazing healers and teachers yourself. You're also invited to sign up for our newsletter, so you get posted and notified about our monthly upcoming live events and also our other offerings. And we're also on social media and on YouTube, so you can also view all of our live events on our channel as well. So I would like to share that with you. And today I'm truly honored and excited to have one of our Shamans Directory ambassadors, Diana Beaulieu, here to talk. And she's joining us here from Mallorca in Spain. And she has been also really a vital guide for me personally in my own shamanic practice to discover my own inner medicine. So I'm really excited to have her here and very grateful for her work and to be here present with us to share her wonderful wisdom and her knowledge. And the theme for today is Your Ultimate Cave of Power, Shamanic Journeying into the Black Light of the Womb. So that's a beautiful theme, I believe, and I invite you all in this chat, in this circle, in this group to tell us where you, who you are and where you're viewing from. And also you can use this same chat when you have any questions during our talk. And I also invite you to create a nice space for yourself. And because Diana also kindly prepared for us a guided shamanic journey in this program. So if you have your earplugs or headphones or blindfold ready, then it will be great to get prepared to enhance your experience. So yeah, please settle yourself in so we get ready to receive her beautiful knowledge and wisdom. And I also want to, before we get started, give a little introduction about Diana from Sacred Woman Awakening. Diana studied biology, human sciences, and psychoneuroimmunology at Oxford University and was awarded a postgraduate degree in environmental anthropology at UCL. She has worked as an anthropologist in Latin America and a writer and researcher for international NGOs, charities, and science journals and universities. Diana's desire for a deeper understanding of the human psyche led her down a 7-year apprenticeship in core shamanic medicine. Through her own personal healing journey and developing a self-healing method for herself and her clients, Diana's unique pathway of womb healing and awakening was born. And her latest work, Soul Rise, is a soul-to-soul community and healing sanctuary for men and women dedicated to healing and creating conscious relationships. So thank you, Diana. Welcome for being here, and I'm very delighted to have you here. And so for our audience to get to know you a little bit more about you, I think it would be great if you can maybe tell us a little bit about your journey to become a healer and a teacher. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about that.
Thank you, Mayumi, and welcome everybody. It's wonderful to see you all here, and I'm seeing familiar faces and new faces, and it's really equally delightful to see all of you and people from all over the world. So I'm really thrilled that we're here connecting today. It's really wonderful, and I'm humbled by the response to this masterclass. And well, you'll find out more about the topic I want to teach today, but indeed, as you probably gathered from my bio, I was in a kind of fairly intellectual academic world for some time in my early career. And I would describe that as the period of my life where I lived from my neck up. And it took a sort of fairly brutal kind of series of emotional circumstances for me to realize that below the neck, there was an awful lot of unresolved pain inside me. And that I really needed to find ways to kind of arrive in myself physically and emotionally, and start to untangle all the various things that were happening within me. And so that took me through a few healing modalities. The first was shiatsu, which is a form of meridian-based energy work, which has its roots also in Chinese medicine. And I spent about 7 years kind of becoming a practitioner, then teacher, and slowly sort of arriving in my body, which was a painful but very worthwhile process. And then from there, I felt there was something more for me to experience. And at that time, information about shamanism just kept coming at me from all directions. And I found myself being quite unexpectedly initiated into the path of shamanic journeying, which I'm sure many of you on the call are very familiar with. So when we're using the drum and a blindfold, for example, in core shamanic journeying, to come into a kind of deeper perception, a multi kind of dimensional awareness of our reality. And from that greater level of perception, start to see things that were invisible to us, and from seeing them, be able to transform them. My shamanic initiation was a little bit unusual, perhaps, because I didn't really ever have a human teacher. I was actually initiated in a sense by my own guides in human and animal form, who taught me everything that I know about shamanic healing. And it was only afterwards that I went to teachers or read books and discovered that they were teaching exactly the same things that I'd been learning in my inner world. So that was a relief, that this wasn't just a sort of personal psychosis that I was going through. The things I was learning and practicing were actually a thing, as I call it, just as I'm relieved that what I'm teaching today is a thing in other cultures, which Mayumi will help me to expound. And so from there, I found myself kind of diving deeper into my own psyche and my own body. And around 8 years ago, discovered that I had a lot of trauma in my womb and in my sexual reproductive system. And that's where the path of womb awakening was born. It was really me bringing my shamanic skills and all the sort of wisdom and all the experience that I'd come into until that point, and then starting to really dive into the space of the womb. And so now from that, I've developed something of a modality which keeps shifting and changing. It's not very easy to sort of stamp it onto a sort of rock or anything and say that it's fixed, because it's always evolving. And it's all about really understanding the multidimensional aspects of the womb itself, and seeing that there are some wonderful men on this call. I want to add that when I'm talking about the womb, we can also imagine men energetically having a womb or hara space, even though you may not have a womb organ. And so we will be working with, the idea that men and women can be equally involved in this process of discovering the black light. And that was a real journey for me, mainly around trauma release, but also a lot of discovery around the deep seat of consciousness that the womb is. And from there, I began to realize that the womb is absolutely a space in which we can be shamanically conscious and powerful and active. And I think I'll leave my self-introduction there, because probably the rest of the things I want to say about that belong more to the presentation on the black light. So thank you, Mayumi.
Thank you, Diana. I think it's just so extraordinary that you created this sort of healing modality as you sort of really delve deep into yourself and find your inner unique medicine about the sacred womb healing and awakening. Is there like a difference? Is there like an order that you have to sort of awaken your belly space in order to seek healing from that space?
An order.
Yeah, or
Could you
is it
clarify?
just go together?
Well, I think my experience was that it took me a very long time to make the approximately 30-inch journey from my head to my womb. And it was a very interesting, eventful journey. And I think it takes a certain amount of kind of self-initiation and maturity to be able to arrive in what I call the sort of Pandora's box of the womb. Because the womb, especially for women in this particular moment that we're inhabiting on the earth, through our collective and historical trauma, essentially, is a very complex place. It's a place where we, of course, hold the capacity for creation, reproduction, and incredible power, but it's also a place that's really full of trauma for most of us. And the same for men. There's a huge amount of trauma locked in the hara space of men also. And so there's a kind of, what I believe is that there's a kind of level of maturity that needs to happen before you can unpack that Pandora's box.
Right.
And it's a good idea to have already engaged in some kind of healing modalities, so that you have a sort of set of resources to draw upon as you potentially come into connection with what is there. Mm-hmm. So I'd say it's not for the faint-hearted, and it's also not for the uninitiated, essentially, because you need to be able to arrive in that space. So I was 40 when I arrived in my womb, and I'd already been in a sort of path of learning and practicing different modalities for over 15 years, and very, very much single-mindedly dedicated to that.
Right. Yeah, I can see it also, like, yeah, when I was sort of asking the question, now I see it actually goes also in tandem, and you can go deeper and deeper and peeling more layers off, also in the womb space, and whether it's in the collective level or more in the personal level, right? That we also carry all that trauma, basically, in the macro and the micro level as well. So I think it's also interesting that you mentioned about the hara space, because I'm Japanese and the word comes from that. And when I also learned the Peruvian tradition, they call it the cosco, so the belly area. And that's why, I think it's really relevant to men, of course, as well. So have you, can you tell us a little bit more about like how this also works for the men? Like they have maybe not a physical womb, but is it like something that we can sort of translate it into just a belly space as a sacred, energetic center?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely what we can do. We can imagine that the womb space is women has a sort of counterpart in the sexual area of men, and that can also include the prostate gland and the testes and all the sort of incredible vital creative force that comes from that area as well.
Right. Because we also often say about like also if it comes to your belly center, that it's also the center for maybe our intuition or our gut feeling, right? That lies in the belly. Is this also something like, how we sort of tune into that sort of sacred womb space or hara space to really listen to, the deeper unconscious maybe messages that we haven't been aware about, but really tune into that sort of space?
Yeah, it's interesting what you say, because obviously we have this concept of gut feelings, perhaps coming from the sort of second nervous system in the digestive system, the second brain that we have there. But how actually I see the womb space as being an even deeper space, because as we'll go deeper into when I talk about the black light, it feels to me that when we go into the black light of the womb, we actually come into a being space of wisdom. So it's not just a sort of somatic or biological knowing. It's going further and deeper than that into a space which is more like a being level knowing. So anyone who's a shamanic practitioner will know that when you contact spirit guides, you're getting into this level of knowing which is not normally accessible to your normal human everyday frame of consciousness. And it's the same when you get into the depths of the womb. You start to connect to a being level of knowledge, which is not just about a sort of gut or body knowledge of your life. It's something much deeper and more profound. And I believe that's because the womb connects us to the source of who we are, ultimately.
Right, that's really interesting, because I think it's also very interesting, like, if you do shamanic journey, then you might travel to certain spaces, but you can actually also travel within the womb space and really find that knowledge or information or messages and insights that you might need. as an answer. So I think that's, yeah, very interesting. But let's also talk about this black light energy as one of your, big concepts, because I learned it first from you about this essence. And it was just really interesting that I heard from different sources later on in the Andean mystical traditions that they use the same type of wordings. They call it Wilka energy, which is black light energy, and they consider it as the most powerful sacred energy that is within us, and that we can sort of create and integrate from the earth and the cosmos and sort of create this beautiful, powerful energy. So I just see so much similarities there, and you sort of course, discovered it by yourself. And so I'm just really curious, like how you got into this space and how you found this sort of powerful energy of this black light energy. And yeah, can you tell us a little bit more also what it is?
Yeah, absolutely. So I can start with the sort of the beginning of the story of how I discovered this energetic reality, which is the black light. And it began a few years ago when a friend of mine came to my house and said to me, as you do, I'd like you to initiate me as a priestess of Isis. And I said, oh, okay, well, I'm not really sure how to do that. I'm not a priestess of Isis or anything even remotely related to that. But hey, we could give it a go, not, and just thinking, well, I was living in an island called Ibiza at the time, which is full of all sorts of quite eccentric and spiritual characters. So it was kind of not so out of the ordinary in the context of my life then. And and so I said, I agreed. Something inside me said, yes, this is what I'm meant to do. And so we went into my sacred space, which at that point was a teepee, and we did a drumming journey. And my sole intention, the drumming journey, was that my friend and I would go on a journey to receive whatever initiation might be connected to the Isis energy, whatever that might be. I wasn't really sure myself, so that she could have the experience that she felt intuitively I could assist her with. And so as we went into my teepee, I did the usual thing of blindfolding myself and playing my shamanic drum. And suddenly I was shot up into the center of the galaxy. And that had never happened before. It was a new experience. And I felt myself going into the black hole at the center of the galaxy. And there I was suddenly suspended in this incredible frequency of light, which is what I now call the black light. And it was this incredibly rich and thick, sparkling kind of energy. And it had almost kind of purple and blue hues, just like you might see when you see sort of these beautiful NASA pictures of spiral galaxies in space. You get these amazing purple and blue hues. And then after a few moments of being in that energy, I came back down. Curiously, I hadn't said anything to my friend and I wasn't guiding the journey in any way, but exactly the same thing happened to her. She had exactly the same experience, and we both felt somehow changed by it. And we both felt that we'd somehow been initiated through it. I later discovered that in Egyptian mystery school teachings, Isis is associated with this phenomenon called the black light, which is associated with the black hole, the kind of cosmic creation center at the center of the galaxy. At that point, my understanding of black holes was that they were these kind of event horizons where everything is kind of basically sort of brought in and kind of dismantled, as it were. It's a kind of place of destruction. But over the last years, scientists have been understanding that black holes also have generative qualities. They can birth stars. And my intuition began to feel that maybe black holes breathe. They breathe in and out. The breath of Atman is a kind of nice way of thinking about that from a Hindu perspective. And sometimes they're drawing in, and sometimes they're birthing out light and matter. So I came to realize that this light that I'd been in was this kind of matter. It was this feminine source light. And it was connected with Isis in the Egyptian traditions because she is the mother goddess. She's the mother of creation. She's the highest mother goddess. And so I began to realize that I'd stumbled onto something of a mystery, and I'd had a direct experience of it. And in the next and following years, I had a few experiences of using intentionality to then take myself into this black light, and having interesting journeys where I felt that this black light frequency was somehow cleansing my energy, or somehow bringing me into contact with something at a very high level that was very healing for me. And then I also began to realize that this energy wasn't only accessible by going outside of myself, as it were, or having an inner journey where the appearance was that I was going outside of myself. I started to realize that through womb work, we could actually dive into our bodies and access this same galactic space and access this frequency of light. So it was this as below, as above, below, as without, within kind of experience. And I was starting to realize that the womb itself contains the galaxy. So this was a sort of huge revelation for me. And as I began to teach women about it, and I'll just add that usually the way I teach is that I walk into a room with a bunch of wonderful people, and I usually have no idea what's going to happen. I just sort of let things sort of come through somehow. And then I'm usually just watching and observing myself teaching something and equally surprised and thinking, gosh, that's interesting. Sort of coming through. So I want to emphasize that it wasn't really my mind directing these things. It was just a sort of surrendering into the flow of experience in beautiful containers, circles of women, etc. And as women that I was working with were also having this experience of the black light, they were just experiencing these profound sort of states and coming to what I would call a kind of core being state as well. And finding it extraordinary that within the womb space, they could find something so vast and expanded that felt like the galaxy itself, and yet felt so safe and intimate and also personal to them. So in a way, what I want to say is that from a shamanic perspective, so for those of you who are shamanic practitioners and have come into this call from that perspective of having your own shamanic work that you do, coming into the womb provides us with this element of this kind of beautiful surprise in a way, certainly for me it was, that we have a deep shamanic space within our bodies that we can access. And so for shamanic practitioners who've spent years perhaps feeling that they access the consciousness of animal or ancestral guides or aspects of the earth's consciousness or whatever it may be, to realize that you can go in and find such a powerful space right in your body is a very interesting thing. And equally for those of us who might have come from a womb perspective, working with feminine energy or the womb, then it's beautiful to discover that the womb may be more than we realized, and that the womb is also a deep shamanic space where we can come into a very deep space of knowing. So it's kind of an interesting evolution in your practice, whichever path you come from. It creates a sort of new opportunity for a different experience. And the beautiful thing about the womb space is that there are different layers of experiences that you can have. And one of these layers of experience, as I've said, is a kind of being experience where you are literally immersed in the mater, or the feminine source light that ultimately birthed you and that is ultimately also within you. And that is a very deep, healing, nourishing experience. So you can just go and hang out in this source frequency and experience a lot of healing and regeneration just by being there. But there are two more layers of this experience which are also very interesting. And the first I'd like to mention is that when I was going into the black light space, probably also because of my years of shamanic experience, what I was finding was that I could access an aspect of my consciousness that I was then experiencing like a spirit guide. So I call her my inner sacred woman. That's just my phrase. It doesn't really matter what term you want to use. And I was able to then have profound shamanic wisdom journeys, just as I might have done with my power animal or with my shamanic guide. And I was able to bring the aspects and issues of my life or clients' lives also that I would normally bring to a guide, and have a depth of wisdom and understanding coming from that consciousness within me, that in my experience of it, I was experiencing as a human female in the form of a guide, but which I really understood to me really my kind of source being. And I also came to realize that this aspect of my consciousness is the aspect that has a very, very intimate understanding of me, because I'm, coming in and incarnating here and there down the line, and usually with, little bits of my consciousness present, and usually just confused and trying to figure out what's going on. That's kind of the story of incarnation, right? It's a sort of joke where you coming in and forgetting and trying to remember again and all the rest. Well, by meeting this inner aspect of me, I really felt like I was meeting the aspect of me that is conscious as all my incarnations, conscious of the big picture of who I am, conscious of my trajectory as a soul, as a being, and having this huge level understanding of who I actually am. And so what a balm, what a healing to be able to have a conscious connection with that part of myself. And then more and more in life, also be able to draw on the guidance and the wisdom of that part of myself. So that was really what I was beginning to experience, that the womb was becoming my shamanic cave. And I had a period where my shamanic guides told me very clearly, we're buggering off for a while. We're not gonna hang out with you anymore because we want you to spend your time here. This is where you need to be, which was disconcerting at first, but then I really understood why it had to be like that. So I had a period of about 4 years where I didn't do any shamanic work with my usual spirit guides. They came back afterwards, luckily. They were leaving me the space to experience this womb wisdom inside me, and to experience the shamanic wisdom of that. It was very interesting. And the other aspect which I wanted to talk about, so we've got this sort of beingness aspect, being in the matter, being in the source of life, being in the source of creation. We've got this wisdom aspect, meeting yourself, meeting the source of who you are. And then another beautiful aspect, the third I want to talk about, is there's actually a creation aspect. So when I was going into the womb, I was realizing that somehow in this black light womb space, there's a kind of filter around your consciousness, which is putting you into a very clear and direct connection with your most aligned creation. So of course the womb is all about creation, so it's logical that the cosmic womb of the black light is also about what we create as beings. And I was realizing that in the womb I would be given, or I would receive, very clear visions of things that I needed to create. And I felt this deep confidence and alignment within that space around these things that I wanted to create, not coming from some sort of, well, I don't like the word ego, but an ego-based desire, let's call it, or a conditioned desire is another way to think of it, but really coming from the really pure and clear intentionality of my being at a very high level. And so I would start to see very clearly what I was meant to be bringing into the world. And it was just aligning with such a joy and such a desire on my end, of course. And so I realized that you can actually plant seeds of creation also into this black light, a bit like planting seeds into a very rich soil, the ultimate, the ultimate compost, right? The ultimate kind of nutrition. And I began to enter into a new way of manifesting things, where I would really allow these deep visions for manifestation to come through me and to guide me. And then I would really allow those intentionalities for manifestation to be in the black light and to be nourished by that black light, and to also be nourished by the galactic connectivity of that black light, which was also connecting me to other people on the earth, for example, or opportunities, or just beautiful ways. And I'm sure we all know what it's like when you're sort of flowing with the river of life and things are kind of going well because we've clicked in to perhaps a dream or a way which is being supported somehow by life at a bigger level. And I certainly know, I won't assume anyone else does, what it's also like when your dreams and aspirations are completely blocked, because perhaps there's an internal saboteur, but perhaps also it's just not actually in the stream of life. You're not meant to really experience that. That's not really what you've come for. And you may have got mislaid along the way. So there's that beautiful flow of creation that starts happening through the womb as well. So these 3 levels of experience are really beautiful. And I'm going to use the guided journey today to give you an opportunity to go as deep as you would like to into those potential 3 levels. So that you can, A, journey safely into the black light space itself, so that you can have an opportunity to meet the part of yourself at that level of creation. And also, if you wish, to receive any guidance or any vision. You know, it's kind of like the ultimate vision quest. You don't have to go up a mountain anymore. You just hang out a little while in your lower belly and there it is. Your vision quest of anything that you'd like to create, or alternatively, anything that you'd like to be guided on in your life, you know, where you'd like to have a sort of crystal clear vision of what that looks like. So that's more or less my introduction to the black light.
Well, I'm really amazed, like really, wow. I think it taps on so many levels. Diana, also what you said about the galactic and, you know, the higher levels of the cosmos, but also tuning into really yourself and as a seed, basically, that is within you and that you can nourish, but actually being in contact or connected with the universe in its whole, and actually with the quantum field as well. So I'm not really surprised that maybe you both had the same experience when you had that initiation of Isis, for example. So yeah, it feels very, very powerful work, what you're doing. I'm also kind of interested as well, like from many perspectives in sort of shamanic work, or let's say spiritual work. We work a lot also with light energy, not per se black light energy, but yeah, light energy, whether it comes from the earth, from the below or above, from the cosmos. And actually in the Andean tradition, we also not only work vertically, but also horizontally. And then again, the belly or the womb or hara space comes again, you know, in mind that the heavy energies and transmute it into sort of light energy. So that's how they also work with the belly space. But I'm just very curious, like, working with this light energy and black light energy, like what is sort of the, you know, difference? Maybe you've already answered it, that is more a very deep sort of source or knowing, but maybe you can sort of elaborate a little bit on that further, what this energy is like.
Yeah, well, first thing I'd say is it's a bit hard to describe, so hopefully we'll all have a better idea once we directly experience it by the end of this call. But I'd say it's a very interesting energy because it's it's very much sovereign to itself. So let's say we're working as healers, etc. You know, many of us might be directing energy or using energy or manifesting energy for healing in a specific way, and a lot of times that will be a very specific frequency of healing that's needed to accomplish a particular task, let's say. And there's something just very majestic about the black light, is in the sense that I don't think we harness the black light energy. I don't think we use it. I think all that we can do is arrive in it and very humbly experience ourselves within it. And it's the way I see the black light is it's really the source of all matter and all light. So I see it as like this kind of cosmic black soil, and then everything we're seeing in the manifest universe is growing out of that. Every frequency of light, and then everything that we're seeing in the manifest world. So it's this kind of ultimate, very universal mother material. And it's really, really amazing. And I believe that women are able to conceive and give life through the womb because they have access to this. This is bringing our own human bodies into the matrix of creation itself. And I believe that, yes, reproduction is a biological process, but I think, I don't know, that the spark of that is also the fact that we have this black light, that we're able to create life, we're able to manifest out of nothing. And that is very powerful.
Thank you. Do you also think that this black light is also very feminine, as you said, coming from the womb space? Is it like kind of like this divine feminine, or the sacred, feminine sort of space, like as you also said about the black hole, for example, that is maybe the source where creation sort of starts. Is it also very much related to that as well?
Yes, it's I feel that in the sense that it seems like a womb, it seems like a galactic womb, and it's this kind of pure potential. So the way I sometimes think of it is that this feminine light is essentially the pure potential of creation. And then perhaps the masculine is the directed thought, which brings that into a form. So when I'm doing energy work, or I'm encouraging my clients usually to do their own work, that's normally how I work. I try to explain how, there's so much healing available in the universe, and it can be a thought or an intention away for us to be able to then manifest our own light out of that. But this is more the pure potential.
Wonderful.
And it's also incredibly nourishing as well. Somehow it's like it's like chocolate, So whenever I'm in that light, it just feels like chocolate. It's got this kind of dark, thick, rich, kind of sensual feeling to it. And I always feel immensely kind of rejuvenated by it somehow.
Beautiful. So I don't know, do we want to maybe start a shamanic journey soon? And is there anything that you want to share before we kind of dive into this? And perhaps there are actually questions. I haven't really seen anything coming in. I saw someone asking about the hara. And I think, that is the word for it, not horror or anything, is hara.
Horror.
I haven't seen any other questions, if I'm correct, but people are really free to ask things in the chat, so we can hopefully address them as well. And before we maybe work on this journey, is there anything that you want to share with us, like what to pay attention to, or how does this vision quest, as you say, this sort of spirit journey within you sort of work? Is there maybe an intention that people can have to go into this space, or should we just sort of first experience it? And how does this further work if people maybe want to tune in and do their own healing work?
Yeah, beautiful. Well, I'm seeing a couple of questions coming through, so maybe it would be nice to take some questions first. So maybe if you have any questions on your mind, anyone, just feel free to fire away in the chat box, and I'll do my best to answer your question. From Anya, I'm seeing, are there any specific ways it can be used to call in your soul baby? Oh yeah, that's a beautiful question. And it's that's a theme that I'm wanting to investigate more, actually. I love the kind of whole aspect of conscious conception. And I really do believe that this is where you can really connect with the soul being of your child. I think you can do it in many ways psychically, but this would be an amazing space to connect the black light space of your own womb through a sacred thread to the possibility of conception, to whoever's ready for that. So yes, I would say it's a beautiful thing to do. I can't chocolate signs coming up. I can't tell you exactly how to do that, but as you're in the black light, you may get a feeling for that. Another question here from Charlotte. Hi, Charlotte. Do we need to set up a certain space before this journey? Well, yes, it's a good idea to, I mean, if you're already a shamanic journeyer, as it were, you know the drill that you need a quiet space, usually a little bit darkened, and importantly, good to wear a blindfold, and preferably to have some headphones on, because I will be using the shamanic drum, and normally the bass tones of the drum do not come through well on normal computer speakers. So you will do very well to have a good set of headphones on you. And that's really all you need, just somewhere where you can be relaxed. And as you probably know, when you're doing shamanic journeying, it's getting that balance right between being relaxed and falling asleep, because shamanic drumming takes the brain into a very particular brain state, which is sort of between visioning and sleep. So to kind of avoid going over that fine line, it's a good idea to actually keep yourself upright. Or if you are lying down, a lot of people learn to do shamanic journeying lying down, but you feel the sleepiness coming on, then get yourself upright so that you can really enjoy that that kind of low theta, high alpha, high state of really just being in the visioning state without waking up 3 hours later and wondering where the masterclass went. So I think that question leads on really well to some other things I want to say about how you can really prepare to do this journey. So this is always the delicate part where I don't want to sort of precondition what your experience will be, because it is your experience and yours alone, and it will be unique for you. And particularly if you're very new to the art of shamanic journeying, just ask you to relax into this and to just trust that this experience will take you where it needs to take you. There isn't a sort of gold medal of experience or a silver or a bronze. There is just your experience, and it exists in equal validity to anybody else's. And I also encourage you to just be very clear and accepting around what your kind of intuitional mode is. So the way I experience shamanic journeying is a bit like a sort of panoramic movie that's happening, and it's very multisensorial. Lots and lots of shamanic journeys over the years, and I have very many aspects of reality that I tend to capture through journeying, but everybody's different. Some people are very visual through shamanic journeying. Some people are actually more auditory. So when it comes to the part of meeting your inner self, it may be that you hear messages very clearly, but the whole thing's been really fuzzy till then, but that's also fine. Some people are more connected to just a state of knowing or feeling that may not be very specific, but sometimes there's a sort of resonance of truth that's happening in the body that can be very helpful, or just a knowing that can be very helpful. And that's also an incredibly powerful form of intuition. So just encouraging you to really be aware of, if this is already your practice, how you normally experience that. And also to just enjoy what the experience brings you. So I'm just going to see if there's any more questions. Yeah, so we are going to set an intention together. And before I do that, I've got chakra related questions. So I think I'll come to those because that might help people to sort of get a bit of a connection. Yeah. So in terms of, it's interesting, I don't use the chakras in any of the work that I do. I simply feel that there are certain body areas which have a sort of high concentration of consciousness happening in them. And for me, those body areas are around the pineal gland, in the heart, and in the womb, or in the, we could generically call it the hara, but let's even call it the male reproductive system. And for me, it's almost like the womb is an overlapping multi-dimensional space. So on the physiological and anatomical level, it's an organ, right? But we can also experience the consciousness of the blood of the womb, for example. That's another layer of experience within the womb, the blood lining of the womb, or the menstrual blood of the womb. We've got the emotional experience of all the liquids within the womb, water storing memory and emotion and history. And we've also got these energetic matrix aspects of the womb. So, for example, our womb may be carrying all sorts of memory imprints and all sorts of things just at a very energetic level. And then we can think of the black light level as being this innermost level of the womb. So if we can release the chakra idea and just come to the fact that anatomically, we're talking about the womb, right? Just as if I was to talk about the heart center, I would anatomically be talking about the heart and the multidimensional aspects of the heart. That's how I work. That's where we're going to stay. So I hope that makes it clear for anyone who's trying to relate this to chakras. So as long as you know where your womb is, then we should be okay. And in order to connect to your womb, it's very easy. And for men, you can actually use the same guide to get into the same body area. So if you feel onto your pubic bone, our pubic bone creates a kind of ridge at the top. And if you put a couple of fingers width from the top of your pubic bone, and then you just cup over, you are going to more or less have your hands over your womb space. Okay, so that is the part of the body that we're going into. So cupping your hands around 2 fingers width above the pubic bone. Okay, and just take a little time to breathe into that and feel into that area. And actually, this is a really nice preparation because we're not all used to being in contact with this part of our body. So just breathing into this space, breathing into where your hands are in this space within is a beautiful way to begin. You might just want to notice, is there any tension in my belly, my fascia system, my chest? And just use this breath to soften anything that feels tense or tight. See someone working into their solar plexus there. That looks really good. And even just put your fingers into your diaphragm or just gently massage your belly so that you can really sense a free flow of breath, but then also consciousness between you and your womb space. That's beautiful. And so as we're breathing, we're just getting into a relaxed space, and I want to make sure that you have your blindfold ready. So if you don't and you need to grab it, then this is your moment. And I'll give you a few minutes just to get everything you need, and your headphones preferably. Right, so yes, I'm getting a chat coming through, so we can have a little bathroom break as well. We're just going to have a few moments just to get ready for the journey. And if you're already ready, you can just keep using this moment to just keep breathing. And just really feeling your awareness descending down into the womb space. I'm seeing that everyone's coming back. And as we're in this relaxed space, this is a great moment to really feel into your intention. And so I'm going to suggest an intention, but of course we're all sovereign here and you may have something different flowing through, but this is the one I would suggest to you. So my suggestion for your intention is that we're going on a journey into the black light of the womb to experience that space of the galactic black light, to also meet the wisdom part of ourself that is available there, and also to receive any wisdom or direction on what we're here to create through that space. And don't worry, because when I begin drumming, I'm going to repeat that intention a few times. So that you can really tune in with it. So what I'm going to do now is change my sound around so that you should be able to now hear my drum. And if you're not wearing headphones and you don't hear the drum clearly, then please please think about putting some headphones on, because the drum has many different frequencies that assist in the journeying, and it's best for you when you can actually hear the whole range of them, and headphones are best for that. So I'm getting a message that the drum is clear. That's good. And so if this is the first time you've done a shamanic journey, I ask you to just bear in mind that when you make an intention, you're defining the experience that you're going to have within the journey. And so when you set an intention that's aligned for you, you can make sure this is a very safe experience. Because we're going to be going into a very dark space, in fact a black light space. Some of us can have a little bit of an instinctive fear about that. But I want to assure you that this is a very peaceful, generative and healing and nourishing space. And I encourage you to embrace your intention fully as you dive deep into the galaxy that exists within you. So I'm suggesting this intention, and as I suggest it, just encouraging you to really hold it for yourself. You may want to repeat it under your breath or in words that feel more aligned for you, so that this intention is becoming somatically felt within you. So we're going on a journey into the galactic space and the black light of the womb. In order to experience that black light as a feminine source light, also in order to experience the aspect of ourselves that's available to us there, a very deep part of ourselves, at the being level. And also, if it's useful to us, to receive any guidance or wisdom from ourselves about our lives, what we're here to create. So let that intention sink in, that we're journeying into the black light, to experience the galactic black light within the womb. To have also an experience of ourselves, a wisdom part of us that exists at this very deep level. And to receive whatever is useful to us about our lives and what we're here to create. And just let that intention sink into you at a somatic level. Now just again let yourself know that it's safe to take this journey. And just as I'll be guiding you into this space, I'll also be guiding you out. So I'm inviting you to now breathe very deeply into the space of your womb. And as you do that, feel how your point of awareness, which is like a point of light within you, is being drawn down from your head, and it's drawing down your body into your womb. So with every breath, your awareness is just descending down into your body, sliding down through your throat, through your heart, through your diaphragm, through your belly and down into the womb. So you're feeling how you are relaxing and sinking down into the womb space. And now you're becoming aware of your belly as a galaxy that is starting to emerge. As though there is a spiral galaxy being born from the center of your womb. And it's expanding out with its black space, its stars, its nebulae, its planets, It's spiraling out in all directions from the center of your womb, and you're starting to feel how your whole belly is becoming a galaxy. And at the center of this galaxy is a black hole that's birthing the stars. So allow your point of consciousness to move into this galaxy as though you were an astronaut flying through space. And as you find your awareness going into this beautiful galaxy of cold black space and diamond-like stars, you can let yourself begin to be drawn in towards the center. Covering incredible distances at speed. You're moving deeper and deeper into this galactic space. Moving past solar systems, star systems, and finding the stars themselves getting denser and denser as you move towards the center. And keep traveling, keep moving inwards. Until you begin to arrive at the center of the galaxy, where the stars begin to fade, and instead you have this beautiful mass of light right at the center. It is a dark light, a black light, dark yet luminous all at once, sparkling with colors and very rich. This is the black light at the center of your womb space. And feel yourself leaving behind the black space and the stars as you start to travel into this black light, into this rich and shimmering space. Perhaps you're feeling the texture of this black light, or witnessing its shimmer. And you can allow yourself to start spiraling in to this black light, as though following the spiral of a shell. And as you come into the black light, you might feel your body going into different feelings of relaxation or release. Or you might feel that different layers are coming away. Layers of emotion, layers of pain, and the deeper you go, the more this black light is just stripping away any layers that don't really belong to you. And so let yourself feel this release as the black light just gently cleanses away all the layers that are no longer needed. Perhaps masks that you wear in life, roles that you play, habits of thinking, identifications. All of these are just gently stripped away in the black light as you spiral deeper. And as you're traveling towards the center of this black light, you can also imagine that you are breathing this light right into your body. Or that you're drinking it into your body, so that it can also purify your organs and your blood and your cells. And feel what that frequency is like. Keep spiraling in until you reach a space where you're feeling a kind of stillness. In the center of this black light. And in this inner space, you might imagine there's a fountain which is pouring forth more and more black light from a 0 point of existence. You can take more and more black light from this fountain and press it into your body, press it into your eyes, press it into your heart, drink it into your mouth. Just gently allow that black light to cleanse and release any extraneous layers that do not belong to your authentic self, so that you can feel lighter and lighter, closer and closer to who you truly are. Take a few moments just to really play in this light in the way that feels right for you. Take some time to enjoy this light and receive what it's giving you. make sure you just enjoy bringing that black light into every cell of your body. Wherever you think it's needed. This is like a beautiful cosmic bath that's gently cleansing and regenerating your being and bringing you closer to your essential self within. If you wish, and it feels aligned for you, you can ask to make contact with this inner aspect of you that exists within this space of the black light. Perhaps that inner aspect of you is appearing like a spirit guide might, or an animal, or simply a knowing that you are connected to. And allow that aspect of you to emerge and be felt and experienced by you. There are many ways in which this part of you might make itself known or communicate. Perhaps by speaking directly with you, or showing you a symbol or image, or speaking to you through the feeling state. Just allow yourself to be a witness and experience this part of you. And you can ask this beautiful inner aspect of you to give you any guidance that's helpful to you right now, or show you a vision related to your life, to your direction, or what you're here to create. That is of use to you in this moment. if you're receiving a concrete vision for something you'd like to manifest from this deep awareness in you, you can plant it like a seed into the black light for it to grow. Knowing that creation takes many forms, can include you evolving into a new aspect of yourself, or a new relationship, as well as something you might want to concretely manifest exterior to you. Just let the energy of this creative impulse be planted in the black light. Once you've planted this vision, if that was aligned for you, you could again bring your attention to this inner part of you. And just take a moment to really acknowledge and thank this part of you for being present. Honor this deep aspect of your being. And if you so wish, you can also allow this deep aspect of your being to very gently merge with your body. Merging in with your cells, merging in with your organs, so that you can somatically bring back this awareness with you into your everyday life. So you can invite this inner wisdom aspect to flow into your body. Feel the energy of that arriving in your body. When you feel ready, just take a moment to thank and integrate this whole experience by pressing the energy of this space into you, into your body. We're going to very gently dissolve this galactic black light space. So one of the ways that you can do that is by physically or just by imagining you're drawing up your arms, and as you draw them back down again, you're clearing away this galactic black light space. You're just dissolving it. Until it's just a tiny ball of galactic light in your hands, which you can press into your belly, into your womb. causing it to shrink down into the hidden depths of your body, where it is always latent and available to be re-expanded whenever you intend. But for now, this whole galaxy is shrunk down, disappearing into the depths of your womb and your body. And you're becoming aware of your cellular matrix of your body again, becoming aware of your womb as it sits in your lower belly, of your hands on your womb, of your breath rising and falling. And as you keep breathing, you can imagine or feel your consciousness rising up out of your womb and back into your habitual awareness of everyday life. As you're aware again of the seat that you're sat on and the room around you. And take a few moments just to come gently back out into the room, taking your blindfold off only when you're ready. And we'll just have a few minutes to arrive back.
Thank you so much. I think it was a very powerful experience for everybody to sort of, yeah, really witness and be in this sort of new sort of sacred womb space. And I think it will be great because we have some time to allow some shares for those who want to share. And we will not be recording this in our video, that will be in our replay to keep our intimacy. So you're very welcome to share anything that you like. And for those who are watching this later, this is maybe a good time to journal anything that you uniquely experience. So maybe if there's anybody who wants to share, then you can raise your hand, and then I will, yeah, we will take you here for you to speak. Beautiful. I think there were a lot of rich sharings, so and also from men, so that's great. Maybe you can include that in your future work. But yeah, coming to that, since we are coming to the close, Diana, would you like to share perhaps like anything that's coming up from you in terms of your trainings and courses, or anything that you would like to share with our audience?
Yeah, so what I dedicate my life to is training women to work with the womb space. So what I mainly do is train facilitators, and there's quite a few here on the call today, which is lovely. Nice to see you all. And this black light work is a kind of advanced aspects of the work. And what I do a lot of the time is kind of leading to the point where we can really dive into this aspect of the work shamanically. And so my womb trainings run every 6 months. So I open a new chapter of the womb training where more and more people are invited to come. And it's all about really, I'd say the kind of the meta goal or the meta aim of the womb work I do is very much about releasing the collective trauma so we can all step into a more of a golden age aspect of ourselves again, which I think we all remember deep within ourselves. And we have an opportunity right now to re-embody that, to re-embody a very sacred connection to ourselves, the earth and the cosmos. And the womb is one of the focal points through which we can do that. And then I also have an online course for anyone who wants to dive into different aspects of womb work, including the black light. And I'm making a kind of little offer on that so that if you want to have access to that course, having attended this masterclass, you can do that as well. And aside from that, I'm usually very busy in the shamanic space, in my own journey, kind of uncovering more and more layers of the collective reality, whether it's deep shadow layers of the traumatization or its beautiful cosmic aspects of what's going to bring us to the golden age that we're all perhaps hoping for. So that's just a little introduction into what I'm busy with.
That's great. Yeah, I will put some of the information about your practice and your work also in the chat, and also, of course, in the video underneath. And Diana has generously offered us, a gift that she just mentioned, which is the online course with a discount. So I'll put that information as well in the chat for those who want to dive deeper into this sort of womb space. And I've taken the course myself as well. It's very rich, and I recommend it to you all for those who want to do some more work in this. So thank you very much, Diana, for this offering. I think people will really appreciate that. Diana, if there's any final words from you that you would like to express to all of us, then feel free.
Well, first, thank you so much for participating with me in this beautiful session. I was really touched by all the profound shares, all the profound experiences that you had. Every time I hear really beautiful shares back, it reminds me that I'm, again, not in my own personal psychosis. This is really a real thing happening. It's always a comfort, even after all these years of teaching, that we can have these beautiful high-level experiences, but that each of us is having in our own individual way. And I love that kind of contradiction, really, that we're having collective experiences into the expanse of the galaxy, but in such an intimate and internal way, and connecting to something that's so vital for us. So if you feel inspired to keep doing this work, well, there will be a replay, so you'll be able to come back to this guided journey anytime you want to. I think it's going to be on YouTube pretty soon. And, just feel free to keep drinking from that cup, as it were, whenever you feel that you want to. It's very enriching over time to move your focal point of awareness into that space. And when you kind of keep doing that and you keep building that connection, life takes on a different quality, because you're navigating and being guided from a very different space than, let's say, the thinking mind space. So just encouraging anyone who feels assisted by this to keep going with it and to deepen. And thank you again for your beautiful presence, your beautiful questions and your shares. It's been a real honor to have this time with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Diana. You really also remind me that this energy is always available to us. You mentioned that often in your work, and I think that's also with this black light and this offering that you've given to us so generously. So thank you so much for being with us here, and everyone else as well in this group and in this circle, and also for those who are watching this later. So thank you very much. And I think we're now at the closing, so I just wish you a wonderful weekend until next time with another Shamans Directory live event. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.